Hey guys, today we are making 5 of my favorite easy and delicious appetizers for summer. They are all great for entertaining, a snack for the family, or even as part of a light, refreshing dinner. We will be making bacon pineapple bites, whipped ricotta bruschetta dip, corn fritters with hot honey, creamy ranch poolside dip, and Old Bay snack mix. We've got a lot to cover, so let's go get started. Okay, so starting out with our bacon pineapple bites. I have 6 slices of bacon that's cooked most of the way. You don't want it to be too crispy because we need it to still be pliable to wrap it around the pineapple. Just my personal preference, I am not a fan of soft bacon, so I like to cook mine a little bit. I know that in some recipes people just use raw bacon right on the pineapple, but I find that the inside is always a little bit too soft for me. I like it really nice and crispy, especially with the soft pineapple. So I cut those 6 strips in half, and then I have 12 pieces of pineapple about an inch in size. And I also have a half a cup of brown sugar on a plate. And what we're gonna do is just roll a piece of bacon around each piece of pineapple, and then roll it around in the brown sugar and place it on a parchment-lined sheet pan. And we just wanna bake these at 400 degrees for about 5 to 7 minutes, just until they're nice and crispy and the sugar starts to melt and caramelize. This is such a simple appetizer, very 50s, 60s, but it is a classic for a reason and one of my favorites. Now moving on to the whipped ricotta bruschetta dip, I am starting out here with 1 baguette that I am slicing here at an angle. And these are going to be the toasts that we serve with our dip. So we want to preheat our oven to 375 degrees, and we are going to take all of these pieces of bread and lay them cut side down on a foil-lined sheet pan. And I am just brushing the bottom of the pan with a little bit of olive oil, placing the bread down, and then we are going to brush a little bit more oil on the top of each piece of bread. And then we are going to sprinkle them with some salt and toast the bread for about 15 to 20 minutes or until they're nice and golden brown and toasty. And once they come out of the oven and they are still warm, we want to take 1 clove of garlic that just has a little cut on it, and we're going to rub that all over the warm bread, and the oils from that garlic clove are going to infuse into the warm bread, and it's so tasty. So now for our bruschetta, we need about 4 to 5 tomatoes here, depending on what size you have. And we are just going to take out some of the seeds so that it doesn't get too watery, as I'm doing here. And then we are just going to dice it up. And then to the tomatoes, we are going to add 3 cloves of garlic minced, 1 tablespoon of olive oil, a half a teaspoon of salt and a pinch of pepper, a 1/4 cup of fresh basil chopped, 1 tablespoon of balsamic vinegar, and I like to add 2 tablespoons of grated Parmesan cheese. And we're just going to give that a mix, and we want to refrigerate that until we are ready to serve. Now moving on to our whipped ricotta. So I have my food processor here, and to that I am adding 1.5 cups of ricotta cheese, 1 teaspoon of honey, 1 teaspoon of olive oil, and a half a teaspoon of salt and pepper. And we're just going to blend that around until it gets nice and creamy and whipped. Now to assemble, we are going to place the whipped ricotta into a dish or platter, top that with the bruschetta mix, and then I like to top that with a little bit more Parmesan cheese and fresh basil, and then we just serve it with our yummy toasts. This one just hits all the feels. I love using the fresh tomatoes from the garden and basil. It just feels so summery, but you've got that nice creamy ricotta dip as well. A little bit of sweetness from the honey, the acidity from the balsamic vinegar. It is just so good, and on that super crusty garlicky bread, oh, I could just eat this for dinner alone by itself. Next up, we are making my creamy ranch poolside dip. So what we have here is an 8-ounce block of cream cheese softened and a half a cup of sour cream. And to that I am adding 1 package of ranch dressing mix, and we're just going to mix that around. And then we are adding in our veggies. We have about 1.5 to 2 cups of fresh cooked corn, a half a cup of black beans, 1 jalapeno diced, you could do 2 like I did because we love spice, and 1 red bell pepper diced, as well as about a 1/4 cup of chives, and we're just going to mix that all together. And it's really as simple as that. It is so packed full of flavor, and I love all of those fresh summer vegetables. And I am just a ranch girl. I like dipping chicken nuggets in ranch. I like Cool Ranch Doritos way more than nacho cheese, so this one is really a home run for me. We love serving this dip with tortilla chips or even wavy ruffles. So next we are going to make my corn fritters with hot honey butter. So we're starting with our hot honey butter here. So I have a 1/4 cup of melted butter and a 1/4 cup of honey, and I'm just whisking that together. And to that I am adding 1 tablespoon of smoked paprika, 1 teaspoon of cayenne pepper, a 1/2 teaspoon of garlic powder, and about a 1/4 teaspoon each of salt and pepper to taste. Now, if you are not a fan of spice, you could just serve these with honey or even a honey butter, and they are still just as delicious. So once that is all mixed together, we are just going to set it aside. It actually thickens up as it cools, and that's what we're looking for. So we'll move on to our fritters, and this corn fritter recipe is actually my mom's. It was always such a special treat to have these growing up. Once the Fry Daddy came out, do you guys remember the Fry Daddy? Yeah, once that came out, we knew it was corn fritter day. So to make the batter, I am combining 1 cup of all-purpose flour with 1 teaspoon of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of sugar. We're just going to whisk that around and add in 2 large eggs, a 1/2 cup of milk, and 1 teaspoon of oil. And then we are going to add in 1 cup of cooked corn kernels. Now I have 3 inches of oil heated to 375 degrees in a saucepan over medium-low heat here. And just using a large spoon, you just want to drop the batter in by the spoonful. And we're just going to cook these for about 5 minutes or until they're nice and golden brown. And then you just want to drain them on a wire rack. And then you can eat them as is or serve them with a nice dipping sauce like my hot honey butter here. These just really bring me back to my childhood, and it's a great way to use up fresh summer corn. And now last but certainly not least, we are moving on to my Old Bay snack mix. Chex Mix has always been a huge thing in my family. That's something that we always had around the holidays, and it was actually a rule that we could only have Chex Mix after Thanksgiving to Christmas. So it was kind of a fun way to make this into a summer version by using Old Bay. So I have 6 cups of Chex cereal here. You could use corn or rice, 4 cups of pretzels, 2 cups of goldfish, 1 cup of oyster crackers, 3/4 of a cup of peanuts. I like to use unsalted. And then we're just going to mix that around. And then I am combining a 1/2 cup of melted butter with 2 tablespoons of Old Bay, 2 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce, a 1/2 teaspoon of garlic powder, and a 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne pepper. Again, you can leave out the cayenne if you don't like spice. We're just going to stir that to combine and then pour it all over our cereal mix. So then I preheated the oven to 275 degrees, and I have a sheet pan lined with parchment paper, and we are just going to pour this all over the sheet pan and try and make it as even as possible. And we are going to bake this for about an hour, stirring every 15 minutes. This Old Bay snack mix is so addicting. I make it every time we go down to our annual beach vacation, and it's just really such a fun, special treat that my whole family really enjoys. And there you have it, 5 of my favorite easy and delicious summer appetizers. I really hope you enjoyed coming along and making them with me. If you give one a try, please be sure to leave me a comment and let me know what you think. And as always, thank you so much for watching to the end, and we will see you in the next one. Bye!